Hello everyone, and welcome back to Body Revival. I'm so glad you're here with us today. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for your continued support and for being a part of our growing community. And if you're new to the channel, a very warm welcome. We're dedicated to bringing you valuable, actionable health information to help you live your best, healthiest life. So, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. We've got a lot of important topics coming up that you won't want to miss. Today, we're diving into a topic that is incredibly vital, one that touches the lives of millions, particularly our cherished seniors, and it's something that far too often gets overlooked or dismissed: why 99% of seniors ignore a subtle, yet profoundly dangerous early sign of silent heart disease. This isn't just about understanding a medical condition. It's about protecting the quality of life, the independence, and the longevity of our older loved ones, and perhaps even ourselves. Heart disease, as many of you know, remains the leading cause of death worldwide. But what's truly alarming is the silent aspect of it, especially in the aging population. We often think of heart attacks as sudden, dramatic events, and while they certainly can be, the reality for many is a slow, insidious progression of damage that often goes unnoticed until it's reached a critical stage. This isn't just a matter of public health. It's a personal tragedy that affects families, strains healthcare systems, and diminishes the golden years that should be filled with joy and activity. We're talking about something that could allow countless seniors to avoid serious health crises, to continue enjoying their hobbies, spending time with grandchildren, and living independently for much longer. It's about recognizing a whisper before it becomes a scream. Consider these sobering facts. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, about 6.2 million adults in the United States have heart failure, a condition often resulting from untreated silent heart disease. And the prevalence of heart disease itself skyrockets with age. By the time individuals reach their 60s and 70s, the risk factors have often accumulated over decades. What's more, a significant percentage of people who experience a heart attack had no prior symptoms. Think about that for a moment: no chest pain, no shortness of breath, nothing overtly alarming. This is the silent killer we're up against, and it's particularly insidious in older adults because the body's warning signals can be different, more subtle, and often easily mistaken for the normal aches, pains, and slowdowns associated with aging. This phenomenon creates a dangerous blind spot, a critical window of opportunity that is often missed, leading to advanced disease that is much harder to manage. So, what is this subtle but dangerous symptom that so many seniors overlook? What are the underlying causes, and what can we do about it? Stick with us, because understanding this could literally save a life, or dramatically improve one. The particular subtle sign we're focusing on today, the one that 99% of seniors ignore, is unexplained fatigue that persists even after adequate rest. Now, before you dismiss this as just getting old, let's really dig into what that means and why it's so much more than just a typical sign of aging for many. We all get tired. Life is busy, sleep can be elusive, and certainly, as we age, our energy levels naturally aren't what they were in our 20s. But what we're talking about here is a fatigue that is out of proportion to activity, a deep, pervasive weariness that doesn't resolve with a good night's sleep, or even a few days of rest. It's the kind of exhaustion that makes simple daily tasks feel like monumental efforts: walking across the room, carrying groceries, even getting dressed. For many seniors, this isn't sudden. It creeps up gradually, often over months or even years, making it easy to rationalize. "Oh, I'm just getting older," they might say. "My energy isn't what it used to be." And while that's true to some extent, profound, unremitting fatigue, especially when it's a new or worsening symptom, is a major red flag for underlying cardiovascular issues. Let's break down why this happens and why it's so critical. At its core, silent heart disease, often referring to conditions like coronary artery disease or early-stage heart failure, means your heart isn't pumping blood as efficiently as it should be. The heart is a muscular pump, responsible for delivering oxygen, rich blood, and vital nutrients to every cell in your body. When its efficiency is compromised, for example, by narrowed arteries, atherosclerosis that reduce blood flow, or a weakened heart muscles, cardiomyopathy, the body's tissues and organs simply aren't getting the oxygen and nutrients they need to function optimally. This leads to a systemic feeling of exhaustion. Imagine trying to run a marathon on a half-empty tank of gas. That's essentially what your body is trying to do when your heart isn't performing at its best. Consider someone like Martha, a vibrant 78-year-old who used to love gardening and taking long walks with her dog. Slowly, over the course of a year, she noticed she was getting tired more easily. At first, she thought it was just the hot summer days, or maybe she hadn't been sleeping well. Then, her walks became shorter, and she'd often have to stop and rest, feeling utterly drained. Her gardening, once a joy, became a chore she dreaded. She found herself napping more frequently during the day, yet still woke up feeling exhausted. She attributed it to old age, and her family, seeing her slow down, often echoed this sentiment, suggesting she just needed to take it easy. What Martha didn't realize was that her heart was struggling. The arteries supplying blood to her heart muscle were becoming significantly narrowed, meaning her heart wasn't receiving enough oxygen to pump effectively. This reduced pumping power meant less oxygenated blood was reaching her muscles and organs, leading to that profound, unshakable fatigue. If this goes unaddressed, the heart has to work harder and harder, leading to further weakening, and eventually, potentially heart failure, a heart attack, or even sudden cardiac arrest. The insidious nature of this fatigue is that it often doesn't present with typical chest pain. The body adapts, and the heart, in its valiant effort to compensate, may not send those classic pain signals. Instead, it manifests as a deep, bone-weary exhaustion. Another subtle but extremely important manifestation tied to silent heart disease, often overlooked in seniors, is mild shortness of breath, particularly during routine activities or at rest. That is attributed to aging or weight gain. Just like with fatigue, everyone can experience shortness of breath under certain circumstances, running up a flight of stairs, exercising vigorously, or even during moments of intense stress. But the key here is the unexplained and persistent nature of it, especially when it occurs with activities that previously weren't a problem, or even when resting. For many seniors, this might manifest as feeling winded after walking from one room to another, or struggling to catch their breath while talking on the phone, or waking up at night feeling a bit breathless, needing to sit up to feel better. This is often dismissed with phrases like, "Oh, I'm just out of shape," or "My asthma is acting up," or even, "It's just my age." However, in the context of silent heart disease, this can be a critical sign that the heart's pumping efficiency is compromised. Let's delve into the physiology. When your heart is not pumping effectively, blood can back up in the pulmonary veins leading to the lungs. This increased pressure in the lungs' blood vessels can cause fluid to leak into the air sacs, making it harder for oxygen to pass into the bloodstream. This is known as pulmonary congestion, and it's a hallmark of heart failure. Even in earlier stages of silent heart disease, before full-blown heart failure, the heart's reduced ability to pump adequately means the body isn't getting enough oxygen, and the lungs have to work harder to compensate, leading to that feeling of breathlessness. Imagine a scenario where a small amount of water is slowly accumulating in a sponge. Initially, it doesn't seem like much, but over time, the sponge becomes heavier and less effective at its job. Similarly, as fluid begins to build in the lungs due to a struggling heart, the feeling of breathlessness gradually increases, often without acute chest pain, making it easy to attribute to other, less serious causes. Take, for example, Robert, a 72-year-old retired carpenter. For months, he noticed he was getting increasingly breathless when he did his usual chores around the house. He used to be able to carry a full laundry basket up 2 flights of stairs without an issue. Now, he'd be panting by the time he reached the first landing, needing to pause and catch his breath. He blamed it on the extra weight he'd put on during retirement, and perhaps a bit of deconditioning. His wife noticed his breathing seemed heavier, even when he was just sitting watching TV, sometimes almost like a sigh. One night, he woke up feeling particularly breathless, needing to prop himself up with several pillows to feel comfortable. He dismissed it as indigestion, thinking maybe he'd eaten too late. What Robert didn't realize was that his heart, specifically his left ventricle, was starting to weaken. A common consequence of years of undiagnosed high blood pressure, a classic risk factor for silent heart disease. This weakening meant his heart wasn't pumping blood out to his body efficiently, causing blood to back up into his lungs. If this mild, persistent shortness of breath is ignored, it can progress to acute shortness of breath, hospitalization, and a significantly reduced quality of life. It's a subtle alarm bell, one that often gets drowned out by the everyday noises of aging. A third often overlooked indicator of silent heart disease in seniors is unexplained swelling in the legs, ankles, or feet, particularly when it's bilateral ALS affecting both sides and worsens throughout the day. This phenomenon, medically known as peripheral edema, is incredibly common in older adults, and because of its prevalence, it's frequently dismissed as a benign consequence of standing too long, hot weather, or simple circulatory issues related to aging veins. However, when it's persistent, progresses, and isn't easily explained by other factors, it can be a critical sign that the heart is struggling to pump blood effectively, leading to fluid retention in the lower extremities. Let's explore the mechanism behind this. When the heart, particularly the right side, becomes weakened or less efficient, it struggles to pump blood back up from the lower parts of the body against gravity. This leads to a buildup of pressure in the veins, forcing fluid out of the capillaries and into the surrounding tissues, typically in the ankles, feet, and lower legs. This isn't just a cosmetic issue. It's a sign that the body's fluid balance is off, and that the heart's compensatory mechanisms are being stretched to their limit. Moreover, if the kidneys, which play a crucial role in fluid regulation, are also affected by reduced blood flow from a struggling heart, they might retain more sodium and water, further exacerbating the swelling. This type of swelling is often pitting edema, meaning if you press your finger into the swollen area, it leaves a temporary indentation. Consider the case of Helen, an active 85-year-old who loved to knit. For several months, she noticed her ankles seemed a bit puffy, especially by the end of the day. Her shoes felt tighter, and her socks left deep indentations on her skin. She attributed it to standing too much while cooking, or perhaps her slightly higher salt intake. Her doctor, during a routine checkup, mentioned it might just be a little fluid retention, common in older age. What wasn't immediately apparent was that Helen was in the early stages of right-sided heart failure, a condition often secondary to left-sided heart issues or lung conditions. Her heart was having difficulty effectively circulating blood, causing fluid to pool in her lower extremities. This seemingly innocuous swelling, when left unaddressed, can lead to significant discomfort, skin breakdown, increased risk of infection, and a general decline in mobility. More importantly, it signals an underlying cardiac issue that requires urgent attention to prevent further deterioration and more severe complications, such as widespread edema, fluid in the lungs, and increasing strain on other organs. The key is to recognize that while some degree of ankle swelling can be benign, persistent, progressive, and unexplained swelling in seniors warrants a thorough cardiovascular evaluation, rather than a quick dismissal. It's the body's subtle way of indicating that the fluid dynamics are out of balance, often due to a heart that isn't functioning optimally. A fourth often missed, yet significant, sign of silent heart disease in older adults is chronic, persistent cough or wheezing that is not associated with a cold, allergies, or asthma, and often worsens when lying down. Now, a cough is a very common symptom, and especially in seniors. It's frequently attributed to a myriad of benign causes: seasonal allergies, post-nasal drip, medication side effects, or lingering effects of a cold. However, when a cough becomes chronic, lasting for weeks or months, and doesn't respond to typical treatments for respiratory issues, it's crucial to consider the heart as a potential culprit. The key differentiator here is often its timing and accompanying symptoms, or lack thereof, which can point towards a cardiac origin. Let's unpack the pathophysiology. Similar to the mechanism that causes shortness of breath and swelling, A chronic cough in the context of heart disease often stems from pulmonary congestion. When the left side of the heart is weakened and cannot pump blood effectively out to the body, blood can back up into the lungs. This increased pressure in the blood vessels of the lungs can cause fluid to leak into the tiny air sacs and airways. This fluid irritation triggers a reflex cough as the body attempts to clear the airways. The cough might be dry, or it might produce frothy, white, or pink-tinged sputum, especially in more advanced stages of heart failure. The reason it often worsens when lying down is that gravity is no longer assisting the heart in keeping fluid out of the lungs. When a person lies flat, fluid can more easily distribute across the lung tissue, increasing the irritation and triggering a more pronounced cough. Consider the scenario of George, a 75-year-old gentleman who developed a persistent dry cough. He'd had a mild cold a few months prior, and he just assumed it was taking a long time to clear. He tried over-the-counter cough suppressants and allergy medications, but nothing seemed to help. His wife noticed he coughed more at night, often waking up hacking. He attributed it to just a smoker's cough, even though he'd quit smoking years ago. What George and his family didn't realize was that his heart was slowly failing. Years of uncontrolled high blood pressure had silently damaged his heart muscle, leading to a condition called diastolic dysfunction, where the heart stiffens and can't relax properly to fill with blood. This led to fluid backing up into his lungs, causing the chronic cough. If this type of cough is ignored, it not only causes significant discomfort and sleep disruption, but more importantly, it signifies an escalating cardiac problem that needs prompt medical intervention to prevent acute pulmonary edema, which is a medical emergency where the lungs fill with fluid, making breathing extremely difficult. It's a symptom that, when viewed in isolation, seems innocuous, but when considered with other subtle signs, or simply persists without explanation, demands investigation into heart health. Finally, the fifth often missed red flag for silent heart disease in seniors is a general decline in cognitive function or unexplained confusion, especially when accompanied by other subtle physical symptoms. While some degree of memory decline is a natural part of aging, and conditions like Alzheimer's and other dementias are prevalent in the senior population, a sudden or unexplained worsening of cognitive abilities, difficulty concentrating, memory lapses, confusion, or disorientation should never be automatically attributed solely to neurological aging without considering cardiovascular involvement. This is perhaps one of the most frightening and easily misdiagnosed signs, as it directly impacts a senior's independence and quality of life. Let's delve into the link. The brain is an incredibly demanding organ, requiring a constant and robust supply of oxygen and nutrients delivered via blood. When the heart's pumping efficiency is compromised due to silent heart disease, the brain may not receive an adequate and consistent blood supply. This reduced cerebral perfusion can lead to a state of chronic oxygen deprivation and nutrient deficiency in brain cells. Even subtle, long-term reductions in blood flow can impair cognitive function. Furthermore, conditions like atrial fibrillation, a common silent arrhythmia in older adults, can lead to small clots forming in the heart, which can then travel to the brain, causing microscopic strokes that may not produce overt neurological symptoms, but can cumulatively damage brain tissue and affect cognitive abilities over time. It's like a dimmer switch slowly being turned down on the brain's power supply. Consider the unsettling case of Sarah, an 80-year-old woman who had always been sharp and independent. Over a few months, her family noticed subtle changes. She started forgetting appointments, misplacing items more frequently, and sometimes seemed a bit disoriented in familiar surroundings. She became slower to respond in conversations and struggled with complex tasks she once managed easily, like balancing her checkbook. Her children initially attributed it to just getting older, or the early stages of dementia, a fear many families unfortunately face. However, Sarah also had mild, persistent fatigue and occasional, vague chest discomfort that she dismissed as indigestion. After several months of this decline, her family insisted on a comprehensive checkup. It was during this evaluation that a cardiologist discovered she had significant blockages in her coronary arteries, leading to a severely weakened heart muscle and early, stage heart failure. The reduced blood flow from her struggling heart was impacting her brain's function, manifesting as cognitive decline. Once her heart condition was diagnosed and managed with medication and lifestyle changes, her cognitive clarity improved somewhat, demonstrating the direct link. If this decline is ignored, it can lead to a misdiagnosis of dementia, inappropriate care, and a complete loss of independence, all while the underlying cardiac issue continues to silently worsen, posing an ever-increasing risk of a major cardiac event or severe disability. Recognizing unexplained cognitive changes, particularly when accompanied by other subtle physical signs, as a potential indicator of silent heart disease is absolutely crucial for early intervention and preserving brain health. So, we've explored 5 crucial, yet frequently overlooked, signs of silent heart disease in seniors: persistent, unexplained fatigue, mild, persistent shortness of breath during routine activities or at rest, unexplained swelling in the legs, ankles, or feet, chronic, non-respiratory cough or wheezing that often worsens when lying down, and unexplained cognitive decline or confusion. Each of these, in isolation, might seem benign or easily attributable to the normal aging process. But the cumulative message here is clear in seniors: nothing should be automatically dismissed as just aging, without a thorough investigation, especially when it comes to symptoms that could be whispers from the heart. Ignoring these subtle signals can lead to severe consequences, escalating from manageable conditions to life-threatening emergencies like heart attacks, strokes, or end-stage heart failure, often requiring extensive hospitalization, complex medical procedures, and a drastic reduction in quality of life. The aim is to detect these issues when they are still silent and treatable, before they manifest as devastating, irreversible events. Now, let's shift our focus from understanding the problem to empowering ourselves and our loved ones with the solutions and practical advice that can make a profound difference. This isn't about fear. It's about empowerment through knowledge and proactive steps. The good news is that much of what we can do to prevent and manage silent heart disease involves actionable, lifestyle-based strategies that are often easy to integrate into daily life, alongside regular medical oversight. First and foremost, the most critical piece of advice is don't dismiss subtle symptoms, communicate them to your doctor. This might sound obvious, but as we've discussed, seniors and their families often rationalize these changes away. If you, or a loved one, are experiencing any of the signs we've discussed, persistent fatigue, unexplained breathlessness, swelling, a nagging cough, or changes in cognitive function, even if they seem minor, bring them up explicitly with your primary care physician. Don't just say, "I'm tired." Describe the type of fatigue. "I'm experiencing a profound exhaustion that doesn't go away with rest," making simple tasks difficult. Document when these symptoms occur, how long they last, and what, if anything, makes them better or worse. This detailed information is invaluable to your doctor. Be proactive in asking if these symptoms could be related to your heart, especially if you have existing risk factors like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, or a family history of heart disease. Sometimes, it takes a persistent patient or family member to ensure these subtle signs are not overlooked. The effect of this open communication is that it allows for early evaluation, potentially leading to diagnostic tests such as an electrocardiogram (ECG), echocardiogram, blood tests for cardiac biomarkers, or even a stress test, which can uncover underlying heart issues before they become critical. The important note here is to advocate for yourself or your loved one. Your doctor needs to hear the full picture, not just assumptions about aging. Next, let's talk about lifestyle changes, starting with diet. A heart-healthy diet is not about deprivation. It's about nourishing your body and protecting your cardiovascular system. Focus on a diet rich in whole, unprocessed foods. This means emphasizing fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, like fish, poultry, beans, and lentils, and healthy fats, such as those found in olive oil, avocados, and nuts. Aim for variety to ensure a wide range of nutrients. Severely limit processed foods, sugary drinks, excessive sodium, and unhealthy saturated and trans fats. Sodium, in particular, is a major culprit in fluid retention and high blood pressure, both of which strain the heart. Reading food labels to check sodium content becomes crucial. For seniors, preparing meals at home with fresh ingredients allows for better control over what goes into your body. Even small, consistent changes make a difference. For example, swapping out highly processed breakfast cereals for oatmeal with berries, or choosing baked chicken over fried options. The effects of these dietary changes are profound: lower blood pressure, reduced cholesterol levels, better blood sugar control, and reduced inflammation, all of which directly support heart health and reduce the workload on a potentially struggling heart. An important note: if you're on specific medications, especially diuretics, discuss dietary changes with your doctor or a registered dietitian, as some foods can interact with medications or affect electrolyte balance. Coupled with diet is regular, appropriate physical activity. Again, for seniors, this isn't about running marathons, but about consistent, moderate movement. The goal is to incorporate physical activity into daily life. This could be as simple as a daily brisk walk for 30 minutes, most days of the week. Other excellent options include swimming, cycling. Stationary bikes are great for safety, gentle yoga, tai chi, or even chair exercises. The key is consistency and finding activities you enjoy, making them sustainable. If you haven't been active, start slowly and gradually increase intensity and duration. Always consult your doctor before starting any new exercise regimen, especially if you have a known heart condition or multiple risk factors. The benefits of regular physical activity are immense. It strengthens the heart muscle, improves circulation, helps maintain a healthy weight, lowers blood pressure, reduces bad cholesterol, and improves overall energy levels. For someone experiencing mild fatigue or shortness of breath due to early heart issues, increased physical activity, under medical guidance, can actually improve cardiac efficiency and reduce symptoms over time. It's about building endurance and supporting the heart's pumping function. An important note: pay attention to your body. If you experience chest pain, severe shortness of breath, dizziness, or excessive fatigue during exercise, stop immediately and seek medical attention. Listen to your body's signals, but don't let mild symptoms deter you from beneficial movement. Rather, let them be a prompt for a medical discussion. Stress management is another frequently underestimated component of heart health, particularly for seniors. Chronic stress can have a significant negative impact on the cardiovascular system, leading to elevated blood pressure, increased heart rate, and even inflammation, all of which put a strain on the heart. Finding healthy ways to manage stress is crucial. This could include practices like mindfulness meditation, deep breathing exercises, spending time in nature, engaging in hobbies you enjoy, maintaining social connections, or even gentle stretching. For some, talking to a therapist or counselor can provide valuable tools for coping with stress. The effect of effective stress management is a more relaxed cardiovascular system, reduced blood pressure fluctuations, and an improved sense of well-being, all contributing to a healthier heart. An important note here is that while stress reduction is vital, it should not replace medical treatment for diagnosed heart conditions. It's a powerful complementary strategy. And speaking of medical treatment, regular health check-ups and adherence to prescribed medications are non-negotiable for seniors, especially concerning silent heart disease. Many risk factors for heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes, are themselves silent, and often have no symptoms until they cause significant damage. Regular check-ups allow your doctor to monitor these vital signs, conduct necessary blood tests, and assess your overall cardiovascular risk. If your doctor prescribes medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, or a diagnosed heart condition, it is absolutely crucial to take them exactly as directed. Non-adherence to medication is a major reason why chronic conditions worsen. Don't stop taking medication because you feel better, or because you think it's no longer necessary, without first discussing it with your doctor. Regular follow-ups ensure that your treatment plan is optimized for your current health status. The effects of diligent medical management are immense. It controls risk factors, slows the progression of heart disease, prevents acute events, and improves prognosis. An important note: always inform your doctor about all medications, supplements, and over-the-counter drugs you are taking to avoid potentially dangerous interactions. Never hesitate to ask questions about your medications or treatment plan. Finally, let's talk about being educated and proactive. Knowledge is power. Understanding your family history, knowing your personal risk factors, and being aware of the subtle signs we've discussed today can empower you to take control of your heart health. This includes understanding the results of your blood pressure readings, cholesterol levels, and blood sugar tests. Ask your doctor to explain what these numbers mean for you. Don't be afraid to seek a second opinion if you feel your concerns are not being adequately addressed. Consider advanced screenings if recommended by your doctor, especially if you have significant risk factors. For seniors, this might involve discussions about calcium scoring scans or other non-invasive tests that can provide more detailed information about arterial health. The overall effect of being educated and proactive is a greater sense of control over your health destiny, the ability to make informed decisions, and the increased likelihood of catching silent heart disease before it leads to a catastrophic event. An important note: while self-education is valuable, always verify information with your healthcare provider and avoid self-diagnosing or self-treating based solely on internet research. Your individual health profile is unique. In conclusion, what we've discussed today on Body Revival is truly a matter of life and quality of life. The vast majority of seniors, an alarming 99%, unknowingly overlook or dismiss crucial early signs of silent heart disease. These subtle whispers, the persistent, unexplained fatigue, the mild shortness of breath during routine tasks, the baffling leg swelling, the nagging cough that isn't a cold, and the unexplained cognitive fogginess are not simply signs of aging. They are potentially critical distress signals from a heart that is silently struggling. Ignoring them means missing a precious window of opportunity for early intervention, when conditions are often much more manageable and reversible. The significance of early recognition cannot be overstated. It means the difference between a life of vitality and independence versus one marred by chronic illness, hospitalizations, and a diminished capacity to enjoy the golden years. It's about protecting the precious gift of health that allows us to pursue our passions, connect with loved ones, and live fully. By being vigilant, by communicating openly and assertively with our healthcare providers, and by embracing proactive lifestyle changes, a heart-healthy diet, regular appropriate physical activity, effective stress management, and diligent adherence to medical advice, we can dramatically alter the trajectory of heart disease. We have the power to transform these silent threats into manageable conditions. I urge you, whether you are a senior yourself or a loved one, to proactively protect your heart health. Don't wait for a crisis to act. Start today by paying closer attention to your body's signals. If something feels off, if a symptom persists or worsens, discuss it with your doctor. Embrace a positive, heart-healthy lifestyle, not as a chore, but as an investment in your future well-being. Inspire those around you to do the same. This isn't just about adding years to life, but adding life to years. The main message is clear. Your heart whispers before it screams. Learn to listen. Thank you so much for watching this entire video. Your dedication to your health and the health of your loved ones is truly inspiring. If you found this information valuable, please show your support by subscribing to the Body Revival channel. Make sure to turn on those notification bells so you don't miss our next videos on vital health topics. We're committed to bringing you more in-depth, actionable advice to help you thrive. Until next time, stay healthy, stay informed, and take care of your incredible heart. We wish you all good health, and we'll see you again soon.